Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Durbanites FPL Game Week 13 review, Game Week 14 preview. Starting as usual with the table. 64 points is the lead, but not from the champion anymore. Fathi might be having a fantastic week and jumping up to second spot. Third and fourth still with Mohamed Sadiq and Zakia tied for this week, but now slipping behind. What does that mean? The rest of the field is really close as well, even right down to the bottom, right up to 11. There's quite a battle happening, quite a few good points coming up in a week that was dominated by midfielders. Looking at the player selection, Cole Palmer, Emil Smith Rowe, and Mo Salah still the most selected among managers. Erling Haaland is dropping off. The Norwegian having a terrible run of form in line with Manchester City, but still the number one striker in the league this season based on his earlier performances. Now, who were the differentiators this week? Jürgen Strand Larsen, one manager brave enough to put him on the field and getting rewarded with the 11 points from him. Brennan Johnson doing really well as well for Spurs. Bukayo Saka was the star boy indeed for the week, two managers having him on the field, and Amad Diallo with three managers backing him, coming up with double figures once again. Now, what were the hits and misses for this week? Two hits here, midfield maestros, 50 plus points for myself and Fathi this week, based on the great performance by Cole Palmer, Mo Salah, Saka. Also looking at Amad Diallo in that mix, and Brennan Johnson. And the Stonewalls, Squish and Zai coming up with more than 20 plus points owing to Gabriel as well being in that defensive lineup. And looking at the misses, Cunha not doing well as the captain after many double-figure week returns. He definitely blanked this week, and that was a big issue for myself and Suai. Now, looking at the best possible selection from our squads, Sanchez getting the nod ahead of Kevin Gallagher in the number one spot. Gabriel, Robertson, and Aina making up the back three, and then five across that midfield. Ahmad, Palmer, Salah being the captain, Saka being the captain, Salah, and then Brendan Johnson. Wood and Strand Larsen playing up front. Wissa can only make the bench as Trent because of his price. Kez as well making up that bench as well. Now that team would have got you 136 points with the bench boost 166 at again a very affordable 90.3. Now what does this mean for the fixtures coming up for the weeks ahead? Let's look at the teams to look at backing: Aston Villa, Chelsea, Wolves, West Ham and Brighton. Now you can see, even though there are some tricky games coming up, at least for the next 3 weeks, you should be able to rotate between these squads. And of course, the ones to avoid: Bournemouth, Brentford, Manchester United coming into a tricky part of the season, even though they did well last week against Everton, Newcastle as well, Notts Forest, Spurs, and Manchester City. Still a few tricky games, and their form has not been the best. Now, based on that, let's look at the back line. Alisson is still doubtful for Liverpool coming back, and now Emi Martinez has also picked up a little bit of a knock. Vicario is definitely out for Spurs. Looking at the defenders as well, Gabriel is still doubtful, had to come off in that Arsenal win last week. Botman is still out for Newcastle. Lisandro Martinez is suspended for United. Bednarek still out for Southampton, and Coley, who a few people have, is doubtful for Leicester. Now the picks for the goalkeepers would start with Sanchez at Chelsea. Good games coming up. Onana and Raya, even though they're playing each other this week, they are top keepers in the league. It's going to be interesting. And for Bruggen with Brighton, because they have great game weeks coming up. In the defensive side, again, can never leave out Gabriel. He's having a great season. Saliba, his partner, maybe this week against United, one of the best picks, but if you have them, hold them. Ed Nouri from Wolves, Alexander Arnold from Liverpool. Looking at Dallo and Masraoui at United, similar situation. Against Arsenal, it's going to be a tough ask, but if you have them, possibly hold them. Estupinan showing that he can really still make it happen for Brighton with his assist last week. Pedro Porro for Spurs. And then looking at Lucas Digne or Malo Gusto if you have space in your squad for a player from Villa or Chelsea. Then looking at the midfield as well, Solima still doubtful. City still struggling with a lot of injuries. Jota still not ready to come back for Liverpool. Thomas Partey is still doubtful for Arsenal. He is a perennial injury, so it is unfortunate. And then Onana from Aston Villa, that is Amadou Onana, is now doubtful. Looking at the picks, you're looking at Palmer and Neto being the options from Chelsea. Neto now being favoured by Maresca. Salah from Liverpool because he's having a fantastic time. Saka and Trossard from Arsenal coming up with the goods, even though this week might be a bit tricky against United, and same for Garnacho and Ahmad having a tough game against Arsenal. Fernandes, Rashford, again the form seems to be good, the confidence seems to be there, but Arsenal are no pushovers. And then you're looking at Omari Hutchinson, the youngster from Ipswich, might be worth a shot. Mario Lemina Jr. and Gomez from Wolves as well. And then Morgan Rogers from Villa, and Mohamed Kudus is back from suspension, and Jared Bowen. West Ham do have some good games coming up. If they want to stay up this season, they need to start winning these games. Looking at the forwards, Richarlison still out for Spurs. Isak picking up a hip injury, so he's doubtful for Newcastle after coming off just after 21 minutes last week. And then Solanke is doubtful for Spurs, which leaves the picks for this week. Erling Haaland still not on the list because, again, he's got tough games coming up. Cunha for Wolves, Strand Larsen for Wolves after their recent performances. Wista still in it for Brentford. Welbeck and João Pedro for Brighton. Dillap for Ipswich. Watkins for Villa, and Nicholas Jackson for Chelsea is possibly a very good pick, even though he's starting to get expensive. It's going to be a tricky couple of weeks, guys. A lot of games in a very little time. Injuries coming up, making a big difference to lineups. And of course, the change in positions, the way that teams are moving up and down based on the wins, making a big difference in the way managers will play. Let's see how our managers will play. Let's follow all the changes. Good luck. That's the update for now. We're going to catch you with another video this week before the next deadline and the weekend. So long for now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave a comment, let me know how things are going, and we'll see you for the next update. That's it for now.